What's this? Happy New Year. Thank you for your ongoing support for Palit. Warm regards from Palit. So we've talked about and unboxed the 5090s, if you haven't seen that one yet. This was one of the first 5090s from a board partner that was unboxed ever on YouTube. This is the RTX 5080, or at least I think it's gonna be. You'll know that's from the thumbnail. Let's take a look what this is like. This part of the video is brought to you by Asus ProArt PX13, the ultimate 2-in-1 creator laptop with AMD Ryzen 9 AI CPU and NVIDIA RTX 4070 GPU. The PX13 is one of the most compact and powerful 13-inch laptops out there. Create smarter and faster from anywhere with AI features and military-grade toughness. Go check out our full overview in the video description below. Apple tag, air tag. GamingPro 16 gigabytes OC. Interesting, they've put the OC sticker on top of it. Another turbo fan. ARGB Sync Evo, so similar connector what we had on the 5090. High performance vapor chamber, composite heat pipes, superior rigidity. Oh, interesting. I think it says here, maker, design your own graphics card, make it the one and only. You can add your own designs to the cooler. We'll have to check that one out, how this works. So looking online, what we can see here is make it the one and only. So you can literally 3D print some things. Let's see what this is. Okay, so this is dual 40 series. So you can make your own covers for this. They provide 3D versions of the 3D files as well, so you can already customize or do something with it, which is pretty cool. Kind of give you a print so you can have it whatever color, whatever style. Obviously, some people have gone absolutely mental in there, but that's very interesting. As you can see, lots of people have already made their own different ones for 4080. Some more stickers, a mouse pad. We got that with a 5090 as well. Alrighty. So this is a 8-pin converter to the 16-pin power cable. So this is not going to be pulling 600 watts, you can see straight away. A little bit less, probably less than 450 as well then. That's quite a bit less. And then the actual GPU. So yeah, I can see some screw holes on these sides where you can add your own design on the top. You've got 3 fans, pretty obvious that. I think they're the same fans as we have on the 5090. So if you take the 5090 on the side here, so you can see they look exactly the same diameter, same fans, same depth. But the design around it is kind of like tubing, kind of looks like spaceship-y, some kind of interesting lines. I mean, there's a lot of things happening here. I think this bit is RGB, so you can have a little bit of RGB in there, but I would have something else in there. Obviously, I like a little bit more minimal designs. Now, for comparison, I want to take this card here. So this is the Asus ProArt 4080 Super. In comparison to the 5080. This is quite a small card. It's a little bit more than 2-slot card, but in terms of minimal design, looking at this, that to me looks a lot more pleasing, a lot more aesthetic, so much more beautiful, everything. Hey, if you're new here, consider subscribing. If you enjoy videos like these, there's more coming. Back to the video. Now, looking at these cards now from the side, we can see that there is GamingPro on this side. There is a little bit of ventilation going on in there, but not as much as on the 5090. Again, there's 2 separate materials used for this. This bit closer to the PCB and to the back of this is all metal. And then you've got this plastic that's kind of on top of the heatsink. Very similar to what we had on the 5090. And as you can see from this side, the 5080 is not that much taller than the ProArt here, but a lot shorter than this 5090 there. Interestingly, in terms of length, as you can see if we put them side to side, the ProArt is the shortest, but the 5080 and 5090, they're the same length. Now, another thing I realize is that this 16-pin power cable is actually very deep inside, which can be a little bit of a problem if you have some special RGB cables. For example, if you remember my graphics card installation fail on the Interstellar build, I had to file off quite a bit of the cable just to actually get it in there because the cable plastic around would fit in there. It wouldn't be a problem here on the 5090 because it's not so deep inside, but it's massively deep inside there on the 5080. The RGB header on the side is also a little bit of an issue. Now, what you can do with this is if you have an ARGB header, you can connect this to your motherboard, and then this RGB here can be controlled in correlation with your motherboard software. So if you're on ASUS, you've got your Armory Crate. If you're on Gigabyte, you've got your RGB Fusion, I think it's what it's called on Gigabyte. And then you can control the graphics card RGB on that software, which previously has been a little bit of an issue because you've got different programs for every single component in your PC, for GPU, for motherboard, for some of the other things. But now it's nice to have this option where you can sync it all together. But there's a big but. I don't like the actual location for this. Some people say, yeah, you can just zip tie it together with the power cable. But if you've got a nice power cable that you want a good design for, let's say you get your custom power cables, then zip tying a random cable to the side is going to look very, very ugly. I feel like the RGB is something that should be just hidden on the other side. So if you look at the back plate here, I think that should be right on the bottom there. So you can route it directly, plug it in before you plug the graphics card in, so it goes directly onto the motherboard and it's just hidden in there. Or if you've got it mounted vertically in your PC, it can still come out from the bottom onto the motherboard. I feel like it's a little bit better of a location for that. Interestingly, the 5080 has a lot bigger pass-through design than the 5090. You can see there's a lot bigger pass-through, even though the whole fan kind of passes through here. But this looks a lot bigger. I think even the secondary fan, yeah, even the secondary fan will blow a little bit through there because the second fan will end somewhere around there. You've got your dual BIOS switch in there, which we don't have on the ProArt, and we have it on the 5090, but it's in there, hidden in there. This is a little bit of an odd place there because the PCB is a little bit shorter than the actual graphics card's cooler and cover mounting there. It's somewhere around there inside, which is, you just kind of need a pen or something to actually switch it, which can be an issue. Again, I prefer so much more this pleasing aesthetic of a back plate. I mean, even the Game Rock here looks a lot nicer. There's less things going on there. There's a lot of shapes in here, some kind of stripes, and you know, to me, that feels a little bit old design, a little bit too childish, if you're asking me. I prefer this minimalistic, mature designs. Now, looking on the bottom of the GPU, you can see a lot more pass-through, which means that the fans will blow out from this side as well towards your motherboard if you've got it vertically mounted. It's very similar to the 5090, but obviously not as big in here. The 4080 Super is obviously all open and it just blows everywhere for the best airflow. And on the end of the GPU, you've got some screw holes if you want to mount it or attach it to your PC case, especially for system integrators. They can make their own brackets and fit it in there. And the back plate of the GPU, again, not much change from the 5090. You've got one HDMI, 3 display ports, and then a little bit of a grill. And you can see behind the grill, there's a rigidity kind of bracket that keeps the whole graphics card together. So you're not going to have a graphics card like we had this 3090 here from Asus TUF. That one actually sags and bends quite a bit in weird shapes when you have it in your system, because you don't have that rigidity around, whereas the newer cars now have a rigid kind of bracket all the way around the GPU. Now then, do you like this design? What do you think in the comment section below? I like it a little bit more minimal. There's too many shapes, too many things going on. Kind of like a cyberpunky feel, but if you're into that, enjoy it, Bob's your uncle. But I like a bit more minimalistic, more like this design. If you want to build yourself the best bang for buck creator PC, there's build guides in the video description below, obviously completely for free. And if you need to, reaching out and connect, I always get back to my messages within 24 hours. Thanks guys for watching. Bye-bye.